baby love. We are live. Let's get the music going. Retweet it out.
Porque no me aguanto drama de nada. Dime si vienes pa' mi cama. Me la fama. Si la pasan diciendo que soy mala. Porque no me aguanto drama de nada. Dime si vienes pa' mi cama. Me la fama. Se la pasan diciendo que soy mala. Porque no me aguanto drama de nada. Dime si vienes pa' mi cama.
GM to everybody. We are jamming. Springtime in Europe. Springtime in Dubai. It is springtime on the chart. We'll find out soon. Hey, Mati. Good morning. How are you?
Just wrapping up.
Wrapping up the test.
Morning, Anton.
How are you, Mati? Nice to see you again.
Yeah, good stuff.
Guys, I want to start off today with a little bit of a different vibe, a little bit of a different thing. Yesterday, there was, we Euro poors, we live on a weird time zone. Like all the fun stuff happens when we're sleeping, except for Mati. Mati doesn't sleep. So we get up in the morning and we see Trump coin. We see a lot of things happening. Last night, there was a Solana ad that made waves. So Solana dropped this ad and they, got a lot of flack for it. Obviously,
Who gave them flack? Who gave them flack?
The internet people.
What internet people? I thought people loved it. I loved it.
The internet people.
Who gave them flack? I think they just deleted it as a publicity stunt. Nobody gives a shit what they say about the political views.
So I wanna before we get into the real stuff, people struggle to find the video. I wanna do a quick reaction video to the Solana ad. We'll watch it together. I'll pause it at a certain point. Tell me what you think about it, and let's analyze this. Let's see why it made such a big wave. How does that sound?
Let's do it.
Have you watched it, Anton?
I'm gonna share out the episode, and everybody who's watching, share out the video as well. We need your viewership and your sharing and your comments and all of that participation from the audience in order to keep the show going. So make sure not to skip that part.
Yeah, we're gonna get that going now. I'm gonna put the show on. I'm gonna put the episode on. Mati, you can also stream it from your X. Anton, if you want to stream it from your X, we can go. We have Mark Tulloch on the stage as well. Hey, Mark, how are you?
Hey there, how you doing?
Good morning.
We just kind of mixing it up today. We're gonna watch. Also, we're gonna watch the Solana ad together, the one that caused a lot of furor in the markets and on the timeline. We're going to pause it at certain intervals. I want to hear your comments. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. And let's do it together. Everyone kind of, I read it. Took me a while to find Solana ad. It took me a while to find what people were talking about. So I want to help our viewers, get acquainted with what's happening, and let's see what let's watch it together.
So America, what's going on?
Well, lately, I've been having thoughts again.
What thoughts?
About innovation. Multiplanetary travel, nuclear energy, crypto, AI, things that push the limits of human potential.
What you're experiencing is called rational thinking syndrome. Why don't we take this energy and channel it into something more productive, like coming up with a new gender?
But that's not going to stop me thinking about innovating and doing something.
Innovating, doing, these are action words, verbs. Why don't we focus on pronouns?
That's not going to help.
I sense some cynicism. Have you been betrayed in the past?
I used to think the media was my friend. Can I even trust them anymore?
Of course.
Of course they'd say that. That's a biased take. I got canceled for saying 2 + 2 is 4.
Have you ever considered that math is a spectrum?
What?
America, numbers are non-binary. We've been conditioned to believe that 2 + 2 is 4. It's a societal construct.
It's literally math.
Or is it a dominant narrative? Have you been practicing state-prescribed regulations we talked about?
Yeah. I've debanked some crypto founders, and I've slowed down nuclear reactor approvals, and depending on my state of mind, I change the SEC guidelines, but I don't like it.
If we don't regulate, how will we create jobs for people who work hard to make businesses slow?
You know what? Hard work, innovation, rational thinking, it's in my blood. It's who I am. Railroads, factories, automobiles. I built the future once, and I won't be left behind now. I will lead the world in permissionless tech, build on chain, and reclaim my place as the beacon of innovation. I want to invent technologies, not genders.
Lovely. So glad you were able to get some of that negative emotion out. Sounds like we'll need a few more sessions. When can I see you next?
You're fired.
Okay, what do you guys think of that ad? I mean, I don't understand why people get so. It used to be that the left and the people the liberal snowflakes got very riled up and offended by everything. Now it seems like everyone on the right is getting offended by everything. I don't know what it has to do with Solana. I think that it's a good ad because people are talking about it. I don't see how it connects to anything that Solana is doing or anything crypto related, like Coinbase's ads. Coinbase had some.
That's why they had to delete it, right?
They had to delete it because people were pissed off, not because it.
No, because if they didn't delete it, then nobody would remember that it was Solana. They'd remember the good ad. They wouldn't remember that it was Solana. But because they deleted it, the headlines say Solana deleted the ad. Lesson in PR for you. There's nobody who complained. I didn't see one single goddamn person complaining. All people were saying was that people were complaining. Where are the complainers? Show me them.
Yeah,
I love the ad. It's a great ad. I think it's correct. And what it has to do with Solana is that fuck you, America's innovating again. Now builders can come and join this Accelerate conference and feel free to build new projects and blah blah blah. Great ad. But what was not great about the ad is it didn't, like you said, it didn't tie it to Solana. So they needed to actually do something drastic so that they could change up the narrative a little bit.
Yeah. Mark, Anton, your take about the ad that got everyone talking before we move on to more important things and more crucial things, because obviously, like my theory and on all this is that there's sort of like two aspects that move, that people focus on that are important in the space. It's attention and capital, right? So when the markets are pumping, capital's winning, there's liquidity, then people are talking about that. When the markets are dull and quiet, then you got to manufacture attention somehow as well. Like, so I think Solana timing is quite good because they have their sort of local bottom in terms of sentiment after the Libra scandal, and they've been kind of very plateaued for a while, and now we're moving to attention. We're moving from liquidity to attention. So that's kind of what I think. I think it's a good way to kind of bootstrap attention and fill in the blanks while we wait for, hopefully Anton has some ideas on when the liquidity is coming back. But while we wait for that liquidity to come back, that's the game we're in. That's the world we live in. Gimmicks work. They get people talking. People talking leads to increased activity. I mean, a lot of people are checking out the Solana account. They probably got a lot of impressions on their Twitter account, on their website, from people looking for the ad. So, as Matty said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was completely premeditated. Go with a cheeky ad. You know that it's going to trigger a response, and then delete it. It had the net desired effect.
And Mark and Anton, I believe you've both been on the show before. Is that correct?
No, I haven't been on the show, but just looking at that ad, it seemed to be piggybacking on the general sentiment over in the United States post election. Like, it was sort of taking the mickey out of the woke culture that seems to be on a downturn. It's quite clever. I've never really actually positioned Solana there in my mind. I've always actually more positioned them on the other side of the house, but not that I've paid a whole lot of attention to really what goes on within the culture of Solana. But it seems like, to me, it's always seemed like a very young, meme-orientated. Of course, there's good tech over there, but I mean, I've always thought it was kind of like a liberal hangout spot, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I haven't spent too much time hanging out in the Solana circles, but that's what it looks like from the outside looking in.
It is. It's a VC coin for the most part, and I think that most of the backers and the founders and the originators of Solana are, coming from Silicon Valley area, possibly even a bit on the East Coast, but primarily United States innovators. And they're exactly the people who've been the target of Choke Point 2.0. So this ad really is they're coming out. It's like we have zero restraints on us anymore. Now we're gonna really, like, you were impressed what we were able to do while we were fighting the government. Now we have the government on our side. Now look what we're gonna be able to do. I see Anton has hopped off. He'll probably be back, I assume. Mark, since you're new to the show, I'll give you the disclaimer. We don't always treat our guests kindly. You're welcome to shill, but if we don't like what you're shilling, we are going to call you out on it. So your presence here signifies that you agree to have this recording on the internet for all time, and we will not take it down for any reason.
Sounds fair. Yeah, no problem.
Anton, are you winning there?
I say this because we had a guest who wanted to sue us once, and it wasn't fun. So we just put that out there so that nobody can have it. There's no recourse against us for making great content. Okay. And to the viewers, comments, GM at the very least. Come on, wake up, people.
Wake up, people! Wake up! Snappy. I think it's I feel like we're back to where we were before the elections. I remember, Mati, we were sort of oscillating between 55 and 70 for a while, and every single show was kind of like, what's happening now? We're still in the range. We're still, bouncing up and down. We're waiting for a catalyst. We got the catalyst, and it was very short-lived. Like, there was no sustained push over here. It was a quick boost up from 70K to 109K Bitcoin. Alts went crazy. It lasted about 6 weeks, and here we're back ranging, bouncing up and down. hoping for something to happen, like that kind of meme of do something. But what's happening here, Mati? Let's knock it out. Let's check it out.
Yeah, so we are under quite well under the 200-day moving average at the moment. We're not quite at the election territory, by the way. So the previous all-time high at election was 74K. We had not tested that. And I mean, in a perfect technical analysis world, we would touch this line at least once. And we're quite off. We're quite off of that by a few $1,000s. And then we're just testing the 200-day moving average as a resistance. So a powerful breakthrough through that blue line could signify a nice upswing. We've been going down for a very long time. You remember those twin towers? We discussed that at length. That was like the wind being taken out of the markets, like the wind getting knocked out. It was like, okay, yes, we're ready for a rally, and then the next day, boom, all the gains lost. Everybody, a lot of people lost heart on that second red candle there. So I would say down but not out. I'm waiting for a powerful rally to come in for some entry points. I have purchased for both personal and on one of my companies at around 80 to 85K, which is a great entry point if you consider where the last the averages over the 50-day moving average, even 200-day moving average is generally a good time to enter the market. So that's where I've been. Altcoins are still down. Bitcoin dominance is still, reaching for the sky over here. So it's been on a tear. It's been trending upward, I would say, since the beginning of 2023. So no reason to see why that would change, especially given the narrative that Bitcoin is the digital gold. That's the one that everybody believes in. The rest are just kind of like usually value extraction methods and sometimes could produce something nice. But Bitcoin, always nice.
But open up the gold chart, Mati, because that's something that's worth looking at. All-time high on gold.
Yeah, we can do that.
What's happening over there? Why is that important?
$3,000 an ounce. Well, same reason. I guess people are looking for something stable to hold their value in. Actually, it's a bit peculiar because narrative is that quantitative tightening, the Fed is kind of sucking money out of the system, and we can see that on the Fed balance sheet, which I'm happy to show you.
But if like I don't know, for me it's like digital gold, Bitcoin, digital gold.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a good question. So here we can see the quantitative tightening that's been happening pretty much, since 2022 and the bear market that ensued. This is the Fed sucking money out of the system. So if this stuff caused the markets to go up, this stuff going to cause the markets to go down. And at the same time, the Fed's been cutting interest rates. So people have been saying, well, if the Fed cuts interest rates more, then we get a rally in Bitcoin. I don't know how much, even a 1% interest rate, how much capital is going to unlock. And it's not like a sustainable thing. Like money printing, you can keep printing money, but interest rates, like you get to the floor eventually. So there's a very limit to how much it can cut. Why is gold going up? I don't know. Maybe it has to do with like Fort Knox. Maybe people just don't believe that the gold is there. They're going to go and do a full audit over there. So people are grabbing some just in case. If the gold is missing out of Fort Knox, then the supply, supply demand metrics go a bit wonky. So I don't know. Great question. Let me do some research on that for you.
Anton, Mark, what's your take on what we're seeing now with obviously bouncing up and down on Bitcoin? Stocks had a bit of a recovery last week, but the whole the shiny metal is hot once more, and gold has seen 3,000 for the first time in its entire life. How do you put that all together?
Yeah, I'll jump in there, Anton. Or if you want to go, but yeah, I don't know. It just feels like we've lost a little bit of steam coming out of the election. There was a lot of hype around, Trump was going to, deploy the strategic reserve. I think that was it was some okay news with the cost neutral investment strategy, but I think some people thought it was going to be maybe a little bit more where they were going to start acquiring Bitcoin. But yeah, it's hard to know where the rally's coming from. I think I've heard the rumor about the potential for some sort of payback to American citizens of some sort of funds from all of these Doge funds that are being saved. I saw rumors around that about there being a 6K rebate or something around there, but it certainly there needs to be some sort of injection of capital coming in. I think, I'm over here in New Zealand, so we've got a different situation, but yeah, interest rates definitely seem to be coming down, and then in turn, the property market's picking up over here, and probably similar to what's happening over there with interest rates coming down. But yeah, it's I'm the type of person, I don't actually pay attention to the markets a lot as far as the price goes, but I don't know. I'm very interested and curious to hear. I try to rely on experts who are more, I guess, market guys who are constantly looking at the charts. Are we going to see, is this the bull run, or are we going to see a rally? I've heard a lot of experts saying 150 plus. I'm very curious to hear from you guys who are looking at the charts a lot more than I am, whether you think we're going to somewhere around that mark.
Maybe I can, guys, just jump in if you can still hear me.
And we're waiting for you to jump in. Anton, please dive in. Water's great.
I think, Matti, it was you saying it, or Dudu, it's liquidity is everything, It's like, do we have capital coming in, or do we not have it coming in, or do we even having it come out, right? So, and in the context of the commercial, that Solana did, I think it's excellent for liquidity because it's excellent in grabbing people's attention. I personally, when I just saw the commercial now, to be honest, I didn't see it previously, but commercial, personally, I don't understand it. Was not clear to me what's the message, but I definitely caught my attention, because it's a provocative topic, So I personally think the commercial is awesome. I don't know why people are so upset with it, but I might not understand it. I'm living in UAE, and maybe in US it's very provocative. So it's that's just how I see it. But look, when where are we with the markets? I can tell you just one thing that I was told a lot in the last couple of weeks that really shook up confidence in the crypto industry, and that was the Bybit hack. The Bybit hack literally and very much strongly either put on the fence people who wanted to enter into the crypto industry, and I'm talking about here professional allocators, like the family offices in UAE, in the GCC region, or hedge funds or asset managers. That really told them that maybe we're not ready as an industry for serious capital, because just 1.5 billion disappearing overnight with very few people understanding initially why it happened. So that really hit the brake for many people that I know of. And secondly, a lot of people that I know that were deploying capital, they definitely paused, because they said, hey, how can it happen that the second biggest exchange, or third, I don't know how you want to rank it, but Bybit, how did they lose 1.5 billion? The biggest hack in the crypto industry. So I think that was maybe one of the reasons why we're seeing less liquidity coming in. And then it's immediate reflection on the price. You have just less buy support. You had, people were levered like crazy. You had the biggest liquidations in the last couple of weeks, that we have seen even bigger than the FTX Terra Luna collapse. So you see that people were levered to their eyeballs, right? And for me, that's a very simple explanation what's going on. Personally, I'm crazy bullish on crypto. Dudu and Matti, remember we had a conversation almost a year ago. We were praying, hoping for what's going to happen. Now we're 2x from when we spoke last time. Life is good. Come on, life is good, right? So, but obviously short term it doesn't look so strong, because investor confidence has been shaken up. Definitely, I really pointed out to Bybit hack. I'm not pointing the finger at Bybit, right? This is an industry problem, but that shook up confidence, and then given the leverage in the crypto industry, that snowballed. And we are here.
And Bybit fucked up.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
No, I mean, I don't put I think I'm cutting them some slack. I'm reading a little bit about the exploit. It's always it could happen to anyone. It wasn't the social engineering. No one made a mistake. Like, it was a very, very sophisticated exploit. It was completely spoofed. I don't even know 100% what happened, but it seemed legit. Like they sort of injected like a fake contract behind the real
Ethereum, right? EVM tokens only.
It was only Ethereum, I think. It wasn't tokens, only another Ethereum.
Yeah. So I just remember that the short-term charts showed zero impact of the hack itself. So when the hack happened, and as it in the 24 hours, 48 hours that ensued, there wasn't any kind of place where you could say, oh, that's where the hack happened. There wasn't like any immediate decline in the prices or anything like that. There could be something to say that it might have scared off some people who were thinking about coming in and just didn't. But while you were talking there, I was researching price of gold, and actually probably a bigger elephant in the room that we're not really talking about is the trade wars. And I think that is having a huge impact across the board in many different ways. And we spoke about this a few times on the show here. I believe very much this is kind of a short-term pain for a long-term gain. So basically, capital kind of leaving the system, liquidity kind of coming out, or bad liquidity going out, in order to make way for good liquidity, value creation, and asset appreciation in a more natural sense without the aid of inflation and artificial inflation. So that's what I think is going on. So that means,
the trade wars. I'm trying to get more smart on tariffs, and like I'm reading about the trade war, and like obviously I understand why Trump is doing this, right? So Trump, JD, they're supposed to be the champions of Middle America. They're supposed to be the speaking for the working class. And I watched a mad show on this one woman named Batya who was on the Bill Maher show, and she was talking about how, back in the day, a large chunk of the GDP came from the middle class, from manufacturing. Now most of the GDP comes from real estate, finance. Obviously, because and that's a fiat currency problem. People don't understand that when you have hyperinflated money, right, that creates these asset bubbles, then it disincentivizes saving and investing in manufacturing, and it incentivizes financialization. So when credit is your number one export, then you're obviously going to build more products and more complexity around the money supply. So that's why, over the last 20, 30 years, America's seen a decrease in manufacturing, an increase in Wall Street executive pay and in real estate transactions. And that's contributed to the fact that, what you see in America now is all these debts of despair. And that's not just in America, but around the world, specifically around white, middle-aged, non-college educated males are killing themselves at a higher rate because they don't have jobs, they don't have meaning, they lost. So Trump and JD are trying to bring that back. They're trying to bring back manufacturing to America. They, as we said last time, China are paying slave labor wages, so now we'll tariff them and incentivize American manufacturing. But that's a very romantic, detached version of reality. The real version of reality is that the AI means that manufacturing is likely never coming back to anywhere, right? The robots are taking over. China it's not just, Tim Cook said that China is not, for a while, China stopped being like the low cost labor place. It's more, why did manufacturing go to China? Because they have, they built these insane factories, and they have expertise in the tooling that Apple needs and the tooling that electric car manufacturers need. So China it's more of a technology edge than it is just a race to the bottom pricing wise. But my fear with these tariffs is that Trump is chasing some romantic, idealistic past where manufacturing was the end all be all of American industry, and not realizing and what he might know that it's never coming back, but just doing it in order to pander to the base that voted him in, and in which case America will never see the result that they need from tariffs, which is more manufacturing.
The other side of the coin,
and then they'll just we'll just be in a trade war forever because there'll be no results. Like, we want to increase manufacturing. Manufacturing's not increasing. We're just going to keep the tariffs.
So it's an excellent point and a good question. And I think a large part of what Trump is trying to do is to decrease taxes on Americans. And in order to do that, they need to come up with another source of revenue. So I think what he's trying to do here is to kill two birds with one stone. First of all, make trade a bit more fair, because, and this doesn't get covered a lot, but a lot of the tariffs that he's imposing on other countries are still smaller than the tariffs than they impose on the United States, right? So he's kind of counter tariffing them in some of their ways, like India, for example. If you want to buy a U.S. car from India, or if you want to buy a car here in Israel from the United States, how much taxes are you paying on that, right? So at the end of the day, he's trying to fix those imbalances. How that's going to play out, I mean, we'll see. I'm quite optimistic. I think that it's a solid strategy, and I believe that if they can eliminate income tax in the United States, and inheritance tax, these type of taxes, that's going to be a net positive on the United States for sure. And I also believe that you lose part of the value in shipping. So when you're let's say labor is no longer an issue now, all the factories are kind of automated. The question is, where do you put the factory, right? It's going to be healthier for the global economy if those factories are placed closer to where the products are going to be used. So what would be the point of placing that factory in China if the products are going to be used in the United States? It means you have to ship them. It means you lose time. You spend oil, you spend the shipping and all of those man hours in transit. So that's just a bit of a leak that can be fixed. And I believe that when you add it all up, is going to have a positive impact on the global economy as well. Again, we'll see. And I'm quite certain that at the end of this dip, we're going to see, whenever it is, it could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be in a few months from now. I mean, I just saw one guy say that it's gonna be a year. I think the guy's a clown, but Cointelegraph thought it worth mentioning. I believe that as soon as this dip is over, we're going to see a bull run that is going to be so epic that none of us have seen in our lifetimes. So that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's why I'm just waiting here patiently for the bottom to be in, so I can go in with full leverage once again.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's last word on Trump. I think he's obviously he wants to leave a legacy. Like, doesn't have any more elections to run, but Trump has an ego to boost, and for him that means trying to get a peace deal with Russia and Ukraine so you can get that Nobel Prize. It also means trying to get numbers on the board, whether it's Bitcoin to 1 million or whether it's stock market 25x in the next 4 years running, whatever it might be. He wants to leave office with receipts, and go down in history as that he's probably going to have quite a illustrious post-presidency. We can't run again. You could focus on TV and on just kind of pumping his bag. So he wants to. He's not going to be. We're not going to be in this position for too long. But right now, as it's short term, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of volatility. I think we could keep bouncing up and down. We could see suddenly a 2-3 month wave up, and then tariffs ratchet up again, and then we go back down. And there's just a lot of the one key word I'm looking for in this, until we see some changes for Mr. Trump, is uncertainty. There's a lot of that right now. And that means being, I think, more defensive with your position, being a little bit more conservative with your plays, But that's on the trading side. Enough on that. Now is a good time to focus on other things in your life besides watching charts 24/7. We have Mark and Anton here, both building some cool things. Obviously, Mark is new to the show, so we will start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're building, what you focus your time on. You said you're not a trader, so what are you?
Thanks, Dudu. So I'm based over here in New Zealand. I am a builder, so I'm building in the Bitcoin space, but probably maybe just go back a little bit. I started building in 2021, so I started the world's first veteran-focused DAO. And so I come from a military background, spent 18 years in the New Zealand Army, 15 years in the reserves, and 3 years as a full-time person in the Army. So that was quite a bit of fun. But yeah, that was like really where I cut my teeth. Started like with NFTs, and then realized NFTs sucked. And so then got into, okay, let's use these NFTs to form a community. And we essentially pulled some funds and got into fractionalized Bitcoin mining, which was really, where I'd been investing in Bitcoin since 2016, but it was when I got a bit heavier into Bitcoin and sort of starting to understand the fundamentals a lot more. Built that community along with a bunch of other volunteers in the community who are veterans, first responders. But it was really probably like a lot of builders, you're trying to build something impactful. So I decided to go to the Bitcoin Startup Lab under Albert there and went through that pre-accelerator, which was a lot of fun. They had, it was pretty mind-blowing, like some of the quality of people that were coming through there and speaking to us, and really just did a lot of discovery into the market, trying to identify like a really strong problem and utilize my skill base to solve it. What I landed on was really just looking at all of the different Bitcoin yield options that are out there. I mean, like, to give a little bit of context, I had some funds, fortunately not as many as others, but in Celsius, so I was sort of exposed to that whole Celsius BlockFi side of the house where we all thought they were the bank and everything was going to be amazing. And I really bought into that narrative around, what Celsius was. And so it was like quite disappointing. And it's, there's more and more disappointing, talking about Bybit, of just these, excuse my French, fuck ups that people seem to be continually making in our space that just continually seem to peg us back a little bit. So the platform that I'm building is I'm aggregating different Bitcoin yield options from, derivatives, ETFs, mining stocks, Bitcoin lending, as well as just traditional Bitcoin trading, aggregating that into a AI terminal. From there, we're using essentially a large language model, which is focused around market insights, sentiment, on-chain data, and then using predictive analysis. And this is probably the heaviest lift out of the whole thing, is then, okay, then let's utilize predictive analysis, AI agents, so that funds can be deployed into a delegated wallet and essentially come in and out of these yield strategies based on what people's risk profiles are. So it's very early in the build. So I'm not saying we've solved all of these problems at this stage, but that's the vision for it. But at this point, we've built our demo. We've got market insights and sentiment working pretty well. And at the moment, we're in communications with ICP and Near AI, who seem to be like the best two chains to be able to handle the on-chain transaction side of the house. So very early days for what I'm building, but that's sort of an insight into the vision.
Awesome. I got so many questions about that, but I'll start with the most basic one, and that's what the hell does the New Zealand Army do? Who do you guys fight? Australia.
No. Like what you'll find is,
that's what Dudu meant to say. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, no, what you'll find is New Zealand, I mean, we're very small. We've got less than 10,000 personnel across our Army, Navy, and Air Force, but everywhere the United States goes, we go, pretty light. So we were in, obviously, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Iraq. So we just send out, probably a battalion strength at most, and we just play our part in the global community. But we're an ally of the United States and the United Kingdom, and that's what we do for the Army.
They persecute New Zealanders, right? That's what they do. They make sure that people kill their cows so they don't fart too much.
Yeah, it is a pretty, I would say our right is centrist. We're very woke, and we're very focused on an egalitarian type culture. So there's no getting around the fact that we're quite a socialist country, unfortunately, from my perspective.
Mine too, man. I hope you guys find some sanity soon.
I can't see it happening. Yeah, it's just part of it's part of the culture over here. I don't see it happening.
It will. Believe me, it will. We have Nayib Bukele, Javier Milei, Giorgia Meloni, and now Donald Trump about to prove in real time the power of deregulation and smaller government and how much that can bring prosperity to a nation. So any country that calls itself democratic and holds open and free elections will have no choice but to elect politicians who run on these platforms within the next few years.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm hanging out for that.
I'm sure of it. I'm 100%
Aussie,
sure.
we have an Aussie in the house who wants to clean out all the shit coins, soaking up the liquidity. Bitcoin maxis down under running the show. Anton, it's been a while since we last spoke, and you've obviously a man of many talents and many hats. What's keeping you busy these days?
Yeah, so what's keeping me busy is building a crypto exchange. So as you remember, Dudu, when we met in Singapore a few months ago, I mentioned, that I'm working with a really great team on a very interesting project, launching a crypto exchange, global one, but starting, small and locally. And you had the pleasure to meet part of the team as well, I remember, in Singapore. So it was a very good experience. And look, I'm back to building. I've always been a builder, and I really appreciated, to be again a part of a big infrastructure project, which is, a centralized crypto exchange called FreeDex, like Freedom Exchange. So not FreeDex, like free the decentralized exchange, but Freedom Exchange. And really excited. We're supposed to launch.
You don't charge any transaction fees, right? It's completely free.
No. 100% we charge transaction fees, but it's more about the message. I think that the founders had and the vision that they had. But it's a centralized crypto exchange initially to offer spot trading, later on sophisticated products like perpetuals and margin trading, earn, and so on. And with the vision, to bring crypto closer to the 80% of the world's population that still are not part of the Web3 space, you know, like we are for many years. So it's all about making, you know, a smooth experience, smooth UX, UI for, you know, all those Web2 people willing to take a chance and dive into Web3. And I'm happy to be part of this journey with FreeDEX and scaling it and growing it, and just a big pleasure. And hopefully, you know, the FreeDEX team will get to know you guys as well more. So hopefully Matti with you as well, and Mark, and that we also, when the time is right, when we are live, because the exchange is not live yet, so we have a bit more work to do. When we are live, that we see what we can do together and how we can scale and grow this and make it a massive success.
How about you, Mark? Are you have something you can show us today? Some demo? I'd love to see.
No, I don't. Sorry. No, I don't. Sorry, I've logged in off my phone. So yeah, apologies. I won't be able to do a demo.
How about backtesting data? Anything you can share with us about the efficacy and?
Yeah. So I mean, I invite. We are having like a small closed beta launch. It's more now internally for the team and friends and family. You know, to go through the platform and iron out all the bugs. You know, I mean, you know it. Launching a product, you know, initially there's a bit of housekeeping to do. I invite everyone to go to freedex.com. So freedex.com. You can there sign up for like a waiting list. We're slowly giving access to people to test the platform, and also just to announce in the future we will also have like a bug bounty program where people can kind of go and test the platform. If they find, which I'm sure they will, if they find some things that need to be improved, we will also reward them in a compliant and nice way for them, you know, to be a part of this journey and be part of the FreeDEX family from the early days. So I invite everyone, freedex.com, take a look, sign up.
Heard that, bug hunters, go hunt bugs.
Go hunt bugs, yeah. Thanks a lot, guys.
So my question is, you know, how are you looking at, you know, bootstrapping this? Because there's so many exchanges out there. Like, what you know, first of all, why do we need another one? And second of all, you know, what gives that, you know, what are you going to do to, you know, get people? Because exchanges are something that it's very hard for me to switch exchanges unless I have. The only reason I switch exchanges is because my stupid bank turned away $100 that I test deposited from Kraken. So you know, if you told me I can deposit into an Israeli bank account, I would switch exchanges. Otherwise, like, you know, in my early days when I first started,
you're talking about centralized exchanges, though, dude. I think decentralized.
No, these guys are centralized exchange. They're not a DEX.
FreeDEX is a centralized exchange, yeah. And maybe I can try. Yeah, maybe I can try to answer this question.
Centralized exchange, and why do you call it DEX? DEX.
It's
free DEX. It's not a DEX. You see, there's no E. It's just DEX. Free DEX.
So it's Freedom Exchange, and then if you just have FreeDEX, you know. So that's the name. And maybe I can try to answer that question, Dudu. You know. So I mean, first, just to say is that the vision behind the team and the investor is very strong and very well backed. So it's not your typical startup, you know, in a sense that we have already raised more than 50 million from investors. So it's a very well backed project, you know, in a sense of investors willing to put in substantial amount of capital to achieve the long-term vision and the global goals that we have. But now, to give you an example, and Matti as well, like what's the problem today? And I love to give this example with perpetuals. So perpetuals today are the most traded product in the crypto industry by far. Like off the charts is spot, and then you have spot, earn, and so on, like microscopic compared to perpetuals. But what's the experience trading the most popular instrument in the crypto world? First, you need to fund your account, which is usually very challenging. How you explain it, Dudu, right? And then you have to move your funds from the main account to the trading account or to the margin account. And then imagine a newbie from Web2 first even says, like, why am I even moving my assets there, right? And then when you move it there, you have to decide, do I trade coin margin perpetuals or stablecoin margin perpetuals? Imagine a person from Web2 saying, what is even the difference? Why is the platform not deciding where I should trade one or the other? Then when you take a look, you say, but why is there a reference price And what is the difference from the price that I trade at? What is an index price? Why are they showing me the funding rate? What the hell is this stuff, right, happening there? And I need to be an expert in trading and in a so perpetuals are a Web3 product. This doesn't exist in traditional finance. I have to be an expert in.
Oh man,
Yeah, looks like you froze up.
you froze for all of us. But
Or I was
I'm gonna
about to
sign
rip
up.
a new one.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable doing it while he's off cam.
Yeah, let's wait for him to try and get back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Anton, you back? Can you hear me? So, hello?
Can you hear me, guys?
Yep. Can you hear me? Hello, hello. Testing, testing.
Guys, I dropped off a bit, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So perpetuals. I mean, isn't that gambling? I mean, that's what they're telling you to make it easier for people to gamble. Is that your USP? Darn it.
Okay, we'll wait for Anton to get back on somehow. This Aussie guy is keen to trade. He wants to play He wants to play the table.
I have the same. I have the same question because my bank here in Israel just does not allow any kind of interactions with any of the known exchanges. So you try to make a wire transfer to Binance or Kraken or receive money from them, they're going to be right there to block that transaction without any good cause. I mean, you could take them to court over it, but you know, who the hell has power to do that? There's no, I don't have energy to fucking sue my bank for denying a transaction. Though I'd probably win in the end. I believe I do have a good case. It doesn't matter because it's not going to change anything.
What is the reason for that? Is that driven by government policy, or is that just driven by the banks? The banks just don't want to deal with crypto.
No, the banks actually. So in Israel, it was Netanyahu who fucked us inadvertently several years ago. There was a kind of this backdoor meeting with a bunch of journalists, and he was talking very freely. And somebody asked him, "What do you think about Bitcoin?" He says, "Well, I don't know about Bitcoin, but you know, blockchain technology is very interesting, and eventually it's going to displace the banks." That was it. The next day, within a week, all of the banks blocked all crypto transactions. They felt like they're under threat, and they gotta get rid of it. And since then, like, they have a very cartel mentality in this country, especially the banks.
Yeah, I want to talk about my experiences because I've been dealing with this for a while. Like, I haven't sold Bitcoin in a long time. I've sold a bit of ETFs on my 401k account. I haven't sold Bitcoin in a long time. I do plan on taking some small profit when the price is much higher. And in order to do so, I need to have a way to move funds in and out, right? So I have this, some crypto credit cards that I use, but I also want to get shekels in my bank account. So this is where I live. If I want to buy a house here, if I want to buy a car, if I want to give money to my wife, I should be able to get money in my local currency to my local bank. Now, I use Kraken, and Kraken's supposed to be a very legit exchange. I moved $100 worth of Kraken funds to my bank. The bank 5 days later told me they can't accept it. Then they call me a few times. They say they send me a voice message. Who sends voice messages in 2025 to tell me the bank wants to know if the money is from trading or is it FTX reimbursement? Now the money came from Kraken, you dumb sons of bitches. Why would it be an FTX reimbursement, right? And then now I have to fight with my bank. The bank hasn't sent the money back to Kraken yet, so my money's stuck in some sort of void, in some sort of twilight zone.
Yes, it's an FTX reimbursement. Why didn't you say that?
First of all, I don't know what's good or what's bad. Like, what's the good answer? I don't know what's the good answer. Yeah.
Yes, it's a reimbursement. I want my money back.
Second of all, I'm not going to get the money in my account. They need to know what the money's for in order to send it back now to Kraken. That being said, I did mess it up because the bank that I'm with, they have a few crypto exchanges that they approve. Right? Those are Bitstamp, Gemini, Coinbase, Bitflyer, which is a Japanese exchange that no one's heard of. Right? Coinbase, which doesn't even service Israelis. Gemini, which I also think doesn't service Israeli. Thank God I have so I had to go back to my Bitstamp account from 2017, and I saw some Bitcoin bars over there at $4,000 price, which was wild, right? 2017, 2018 Bitstamp account, and now I'm waiting for the money to go to Kraken so that I can move it to Bitstamp, so that I can then try and move it into my bank. But I'll update you about that. But banks suck balls. I don't think that's news for everyone, but that's my experience.
The SMS I got from my bank the next day, like the wire went out. Like they must have missed it and caught. I did it after business hours. The wire went out. It was quite a significant amount, but they sent me a whole long SMS about how they don't support cryptocurrencies and they can't guarantee that they'll be able to put these. Next time, you're not allowed to do that anymore, and we can't guarantee that when the money comes back, we'll be able to put it back in the account after that. So like they're really taking a hardline stance against cryptocurrencies, and not for any reason that they don't want to get caught up in anything bad, or this is actually money that was a tax refund. So like they couldn't say, okay, well, there's illicit money here. This money actually came from the Israeli government, and I'm putting it into Bitcoin. So there's nothing legally wrong with that. But they're still trying to block the transaction, even though it's so clearly like an okay transaction.
Yeah, and the Israeli, and just to add, the Israeli exchanges, they have like 4%, 5%, 6% fees. So there are Israeli exchanges that
to buy Bitcoin from my shekels account. I'm willing to eat those 4 or 5%.
So you can use the Israeli exchanges. They won't give you a problem.
Bitcoin's on sale now, dude. It's 20% fire sale at the moment.
No, you don't want to eat fees like that. Anton, you were saying something before being rudely interrupted by the interweb.
Can you take Australians? Can you take Israeli shekels? Are you able to do that for us?
Yeah. So we have banking partners now in place where we can onboard countries globally. Onboard people from countries globally. Having said that, I have to be now very precise from compliance perspective. We're not allowed to promote the product in specific countries because sometimes they require a license, and we might not have it.
So then let's not pull that thread. But let me ask you specifically: if I try to send a wire to Freedex, what are the bank details that's going to show? What's the customer name and the bank name? Which country is it?
I mean, we will know from where the wire comes from. So if it comes from Israel,
because I'm asking if I want to send you guys a wire transfer. So what's going to be the customer name on the bank account, and what's going to be the name of the bank, and in which country is the bank located?
So here again, I have to be cautious, that I don't disclose I cannot disclose the name of the banking partner, but it's a well-known crypto bank, that's serving top 5 crypto exchanges, and we're working with them as well, actually, right? So
okay, so if it's a well-known crypto bank, it's going to be more difficult for me to make a wire transfer to.
But Matti, look, I think this is very important because I take this feedback like seriously. We want to serve the global, operate a global exchange and serve people from countries globally, right? So let's have also a discussion around that, if this is something that we can resolve, because if this is a challenge in, for instance, Israel, right? And there's an opportunity there, then it's our responsibility as with such big vision to enable products for you guys so you can operate in a smooth way. So let's go on a call.
With the United States, as the United States to a T. The government has said yes, it's fine, and the banks are shutting it down because they're afraid of it. So what I would say is that the bank doesn't always necessarily know what the hell's flying, but they know that they have a list of banks that they don't want to deal with because they deal with cryptocurrencies. So
Yes.
if you're able to open up an account at a more mainstream bank in order to accept client funds, that would certainly go a long way towards alleviating this.
Yes. Yes. I agree. I agree.
But perpetuals, man, tell me more about your perpetuals. I mean, so
So look.
So can I gamble on 300, 500x leverage with you guys?
Yeah. So, I mean, you actually now make an excellent point, is because perpetuals, usually white people, have not such a good experience with them because of extremely high leverage, right? Exchanges allow extremely high leverage that have you liquidated within a couple of minutes or hours or days, right?
Give the client enough rope to hang himself, sure.
Exactly. But this is exactly what I got caught up, but this is actually also part of our vision, is that if a client has open position that puts him at high risk, it's our responsibility as an exchange through risk management not to have our clients getting liquidated within a couple of days. So this is also part of our long-term vision, is that we, even though you can argue it's fully the client's responsibility to do risk management, but I think there's an opportunity there for exchanges to, if the price moves against you, maybe the exchange by default reduces the position so you don't get liquidated immediately, right? So it reduces the risk, right? And what I'm describing now actually is very normal in traditional finance. So traditional finance,
partial liquidation. I remember when they implemented that.
Yes.
I didn't find it particularly helpful. I mean, if you when you get partially liquidated, then you're basically you're trying to make the same amount of profits on less amount of money. It just becomes more dangerous, rather than less dangerous, in my opinion. But yeah, I think anything that you do with leverage, people at home, I'm sure you know this already. If you're watching this show, you probably know a few things about the markets and how shit works. But leverage is gambling. And, if you're looking for an investment, which is different from gambling, just buy some crypto, like Bitcoin, maybe some of the top 10, and just hold it for a period of 5 or 10 years. The more you trade, the more you take on leverage, the more you buy and sell on a daily basis. Yes, that can go right, and it's gone right for me many times before, but I crash accounts more often than I 10x them. So even for me, trading is, it's gambling. So for everybody else out there, just know that the house tends to win. You hear about all the people who made $1 billion on a meme coin, but you don't hear about the billion people who lost a few hundred or a few thousand dollars on meme coins.
Yeah, that's a good one. But I'm looking forward to testing out 3Dex. Guys, we've reached the end of our show. Thank you so much. We didn't even get into a lot of stuff I want to talk to Mark about, but we'll have you on some future spaces and events to discuss that all around Bitcoin ecosystem stuff. Thank you, Mark, Anton,
we're gonna have to
Mati.
get your AI agent onto the Cora wallet as well, because we're gonna have some automated trading products there. So if you got something that's special, definitely show it to me, because we could reach a wider audience with it.
Yeah, awesome. Next time I'll make sure I log in on my laptop and we'll go through a bit of a demo. But yeah, I've enjoyed the chat. I've actually learned some things. That's been very cool.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Thanks again, guys.